and welcome to the first episode of this tier where we're going to be covering true is wrong with me true crime documentaries. So we're going to be starting off slow with the first episode of this tier. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into this. This is kind of something I've been wanting to do for a while now, but yeah, so we're gonna be doing the Ashley Madison documentary. Now, because this is a three-part series, mini-series on Netflix, if you're interested in watching this, but prior to listening to me, if you haven't yet, I can do like a link to the show or whatnot, but anyways, we are gonna be diving into that. So, without further ado, we'll be getting into that shortly. But just as a formatting, we're going to be doing um halfway through episode 2, and then next week we'll be finishing it up with the second half of episode 2 into episode 3. That's kind of how we'll be doing these episodes. If we do have like a 3-part, which I'll always explain at the beginning of each show. So that's what we're going to be jumping into. So let's get into Ashley Madison documentary. So the first person we meet in this, his name is Evan Begg, who is a character. I actually really like him. But he explains to us that he's actually worked for Ashley Madison for 10 years. He actually knows I guess he's the CEO. We'll get to him in a minute. He actually knew him prior to working at Ashley Madison. So there's kind of like that history between them. So that's who we meet first off. And he kind of explains the dynamic of Ashley Madison, and kind of what it was. We're going to get a little more into that, but let's go into the next part, which I'm going to have so much to say about this freaking man. He's just everything that's wrong with men and mankind, really. So we meet Sam. He is from Texas. We find a little bit about him. His dad left when he was 13 years old. So because of that, no one taught me how to love because my dad left me. That's a fucking excuse, is what that is. Like, you know right from wrong, and you claim to be this Christian man, and we'll get to it. I'm going ahead. We'll get to it. So he says, which I think is really going to be a running theme in this for me. And I think I'm going to have to try to wait on it initially until I can get to it. I hope I don't forget to bring it up. But he says that he kind of helped him learn what love is, I guess, is him watching a movie called Big Fish, which I know Big Fish is a really good movie. I personally haven't seen it, but he watched Big Fish and he recites like this line from the movie, and it reminded me there was a person on a reality show, I can't remember which show it was, who also kind of did shit like this. And it's like because they don't know how to communicate. Some narcissists don't know how to really communicate and have real life relationships, that they need the movie or whatever the fuck to kind of help them come across as normal people in society. And this is what this guy does. It's ugh. So then anyway, he tells about meeting Nia, who he does end up marrying, and they have this amazing relationship. It's just rainbows and butterflies and bleh. When you wish upon a star kind of bullshit kind of situation here. And they get married pretty quickly. I think they got pregnant very quickly. So everything's moving very quick with them. we're going to be getting a lot of them throughout this. They're kind of the main, you know, people we see who don't work within Ashley Madison. So we're going to be seeing a lot of them throughout this entire miniseries. So then we learn about this guy named Darren Mortensen, I believe is his name. He's the one who got the idea for Ashley Madison. He started off with Ashley Madison. Um, since most people who are on non-cheating websites are actually married. Now that's I don't know what the percentage of that is, what the statistic is that backs that up. I would be curious. I don't know if we really would ever know what that number truly is, but that's really scary for someone who has been on dating websites, whatever website that may be, and to know that there's people on there who, if not married, potentially in relationships or whatever the case may be, that's like really scary. Because it's like, I'm not trying to date a married man or get involved with a married man. I'm just trying to find the thing I'm looking for, whatever that is that you are looking for, depending on where you are in life. So it's this, why do men have to suck? And again, it's not just men, I know, women too, but it's like, why? And the thing is if you can come into that, like my guy on B90 who approaches Vanya, I'm married, or if he says I'm in a relationship, but we just recently opened it up, you want my number. He's lying, first of all, but it's just like, you know what I mean? Why can't this be like that? So anyway, when he got this idea, seeing that this is the people are going on these websites that are not meant for cheaters to cheat, he created the website. However, it didn't do well until Noel Biederman steps onto the scene and he ends up becoming the CEO of Ashley Madison, and he is going to blow this shit up. And their kind of tagline, I guess, to bring people into this upsite is life is short, have an affair. Yeah, have an affair and your life will be short. That's my slogan. I don't want to know anybody else, but that's my slogan. Have an affair, your life will be short because I will kill you. How do you want to die? in, in the words of Tiger Lily. How do you want to die, honey? Like, do you want me to drown you? Strangle you? What do you want me to do? What do you want to do? Dealer's choice. When do you want to die? Um, so in 2007, Noel calls Mark and offers him a job. Now, I think Mark, so I'm making sure here, and that's not Evan. So, Mark is, I don't know who this is, and I can't remember who he is, but he's Mark, and he offers him a job. 100K with 10% bonus. How could you ever pass that up? You can't, I wouldn't. So then we meet Rob, who is a user of Ashley Madison. He says, like, you can find your ideal person, whatever you're into, whatever your fantasies might be, you can find that on this website. And we are going to see Rob a little bit more throughout this. We will conclude with him at some point before the end of the miniseries, but we do see him throughout, and he's just kind of explaining the dynamics of Ashley Madison and how that can work, and what you can get. You want somebody who's kinky and wants to be, submissive to you, or is into BDSM, or whatever the case may be. You can find all of those things on Ashley Madison. You just have to say, bloop, 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 this is what I want, and this is what you get. So they kind of talk about how the website works, what you have to kind of do within the website. So you basically get credits, which again, I think every dating website has things like this that you have to do in-app purchases so you can get perks of things. Plenty of Fish does that. Take, which I said I've used. does that. Tinder does that. All websites do this, where you can have these perks, being able to communicate with people, where maybe if you don't pay for this, you don't get those things. So you basically start off with 50 credits, but like you can basically both blow through those 50 credits in absolutely no time. So it basically, when you are talking to a woman and you want to continue talking to a woman or talking to whoever, you basically want to buy more credits so that you can keep those communications going. So basically happens is this is where a lot of the money is coming from for Ashley Madison, is purchasing these credits in order to continue talking to people. So Ashley Madison would create these commercials, different types of commercials, in order to lure people in to Ashley Madison. I never saw these commercials. I never did. Now, as Ashley Madison being a Canadian based company in Toronto, I never saw these commercials. Honestly, I didn't even know Ashley Madison was in Toronto um, until actually watching this documentary. I had no clue it was in Toronto. Like, that's insane to me. So, back with Sam and Nia, like I mentioned before, we see that they've married young, got pregnant quickly, but there was passion. There was passion. Okay. Clearly not having sex a lot. There's passion. And he loved being a dad. Loved being a dad. And it's like, okay, great. But there was just so much responsibility that he just wasn't ready for, y'all. He wasn't ready for that. Really? So you think she was? That it just, something that is innate just happens, you deal with it because grown-ups. You know what I mean? He's like, bills. I gotta pay those fucking bills. Bills, bills, bills. You know, someone has to pay those bills. Responsibilities, where? And he's like, I imagine life being more exciting, okay? And unfortunately, you got married young, got pregnant fast. Like, what do you want people to do? You know? He's like, it's just not like the movies. No, no, you're right. Life is not the movies. Okay? Life isn't Big Fish. Life isn't, well, I guess for some people, life was like the Titanic, but we won't get into that. Life isn't a romantic movie, a rom-com, or maybe in his case, 50 Shades of Grey or some shit. You're not gonna fall in love with this really like rich, you know, CEO of a company and gets swept off your feet, and he puts you in a helicopter and then has like crazy sex with you when you can watch yourself having sex in the mirror and shit. And then they take you to a red room and then happens to fall in love when he's like, truly incapable of doing so. And then falls in love with you and says, I can do the vanilla lifestyle, and then marries you. And you know what I mean? Life is not a movie. Life is life, and life sucks. If anything, life more resembles a sim. Seriously. Like, and this is what I mean. This guy is so narcissistic that he is expecting, like, well, but I watched it in the movies, so that makes it real. So why can't I have what's real in those movies? It's not real. Reality check. So he's like, I didn't want to leave my family. No, no, because I'm a Christian man. My vows meant something. And I said it in front of God. So if I divorce my wife, I'm going to hell. So I can't leave my family. I don't know, that's a non-starter. But I needed something exciting. I needed that. Meanwhile, your wife is taking care of your fucking kids. But he needs something exciting because life's so sucky. So he explains that he was an ER nurse. So one night, I think he did overnights. One night, it's a slow night. Instead of making sure that people aren't dying, he decides, I'm going to scroll some articles. And while looking at articles, which I really want to know which articles you were fucking looking at that directed you to Ashley fucking Madison, sir. Really, I do. Because how? Ah, no articles I was looking at because I never heard of Ashley Madison until the leak, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's just like, what are you talking? What were you looking? Sir, you weren't looking at articles. I really, truly think you're looking at boobs. And then you saw the slogan, life is short to be looking at boobs, have an affair instead. Where you can touch boobs. Like, you know what I mean? It, it's, ugh. So anyway, he sees this ad for Ashley Madison. And he's like, you know what? They're right. I shouldn't be looking at boobs. I should be touching boobs. Life is too short. I should maybe have an affair. And he's like, I mean, it's on the internet. Everything on the internet is right. They gotta be right, right? I must be doing shit so incorrect. This is literally how this man is thinking, where it's like, no, you want to have an affair because you're gross. More on that later. So he signs up for Ashley Madison, puts all of his real information on the website, real name, real age, real home address, real phone number, his his credit card information instead of maybe, I don't know what we were doing back in the early 2010s or something, but he could have used fucking PayPal or something, use a different fucking name. Like, I don't understand. Like, you could have done something different. You could have loaded up some money into the PayPal and paid that way, instead of using your real fucking information, you idiot. You deserve to get caught. Anyways, so we kind of get a little more information again about Ashley Madison. He's like, you're putting all of your sexual fantasies out there. And cybersecurity, it was a new thing back then. We weren't hearing too much about cyber attacks and that kind of thing. It was a new thing. So there wasn't a lot of security surrounding potential attacks, cyber attacks. So Sam says, I felt safe including all of my information because he had these cute little security badges at the bottom of the website. More on that later. So Noel became the face of Ashley Madison because they're trying to find ways of marketing for Ashley Madison. So apparently, he would basically go on, talk shows and whatnot to kind of talk about, this. And somehow, some way, Dr. Phil makes his way onto this one. And I'm like, listen, I don't know, some people have feelings and thoughts and everything about Dr. Phil. But I watched Dr. Phil religiously since I was a kid. I think the last 2 seasons we kind of stopped watching, but other than that, religiously. Every episode since he was on Oprah, y'all, okay? I'm that old. So I know for a fact that if my guy was on Ashley fucking Madison, Robin would kill him. For those who don't know, Robin's his wife. She would kill him. Like, he's like, oh, no. Life is too short if I have an affair. Seriously. So he literally says on this thing that an affair can be therapeutic. For whom? For whom? Because maybe it's therapeutic for his dick and balls, and that's great. But for me, I'm literally thinking of all the ways I'm going to kill him, and then the ways that I'm probably going to be shivved in prison. Like, what? Therapeutic? There are better fucking ways to have therapy Okay, you can go to a spa, maybe even one that can give you a happy ending. I'm okay with that. You can see an actual therapist. Maybe there can be communication. Maybe we can go on a retreat. Maybe we can go on vacation and I will give you the happy ending. You know, there are better ways to have therapeutic situations for your marriage than having an affair with another person. The fuck? Anyways, he says, I have two kids. I can love both of them, right? Why not love two women? The fuck, you say? So basically, wait, you're equating loving two women for loving your two children. What? Okay. Okay. I have questions and concerns. Um, your two children are your flesh and fucking blood. Okay. So you have to love both of your children. If you don't, there's an issue. Again, though, those are your children. So you're basically saying, I can love two women. That's fine. Because if I can love two kids, I can love my two kids. I can love two women at the same time, too. It's fine. No, sir, it's not. I just don't understand the analogy of using your two kids' love that you have for them for loving two women. I'm confuzzled with life. So back with Rob, he's talking to a girl. She arranged a meeting with them and they do meet up. So, they talk, they kiss, then they get a room, and we know the rest. They do what they do. So anyways, Nancy Grace is here to yell about Ashley Madison, but this is the one and only time that I'm okay with Nancy Grace yelling at people. Listen, y'all, listen. You'll learn very quickly about me that I hate Nancy Grace, and I do think Scott Peterson broke her. But like, I don't particularly like her at all because all she does is yell at people and yell about situations, and it's like, no. And yet we see her in all these freaking things. Anyway, there's that. 2011. We're going to kind of go through, at least in the first episode, we're going to be kind of going through the numbers of Ashley Madison and how much they accumulate. So in 2011, they have 8.5 million users. That's quite a bit. So then we meet Kathy. She worked at Ashley Madison as a customer service rep. I really like Kathy. And she says wives would call about charges on their credit cards because, yeah, they probably have the same, credit card that they share, or potentially the wife is the one who's doing the paying of the bills and stuff. And she's seeing on charges on their credit card and being like, who the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? So they would say, well, your name's not on the card, so I can't talk to you about the charges. And they're like, well, he's my husband, so I'll just go get him right now and we can figure this out. So it would basically just end up with the charge being reversed as to not break up marriages because they were not trying to break up marriages. That was not the cool of Ashley Madison. Not at all. Just to have therapy. Anyways, we're with Nia. And she's kind of explaining to us like her journey, I guess, through being with Sam. And she says, like, he checked off all of her boxes. He's a Christian, y'all. And he explains to us that he had the app on his phone, so some Christian he was. And he upgraded to the elite membership where he can have unlimited conversations with women. You suck. And he explains that his screen name, check this shit, dirty little secret man. You couldn't come up with anything else. I would have had more respect if you said, ain't it 8-inch cock from Texas guy or some shit like that. I would have had more respect for that. This is what you came up with, dirty little secret man. You are stupid and just, you have no imagination. Anyways, he would skip those pornographic ones. He wasn't interested in that. No, 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 no. He didn't want to see tits and ass. None of that bullshit. But anyways, he's like, I didn't want to have sex. That wasn't my goal of being on Ashley Madison. They literally said life is short to have a fucking affair. And he said, you know what? They're right. And you don't want to have sex with anybody? You want me to believe you didn't want to have sex with anybody? Sir, I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. What are you talking about? Like, actually, I was born in the morning. But anyways, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm not sure really what I wanted. I'll tell you what he wanted in about 2 seconds when we get to it. So, and he said, I didn't know what I wanted. He's like, my wife, she was sexually satisfying me. So, I'm good there, And, she would do it on him, his every need, his every whatever. Like she was the perfect wife. So then why are we having an affair? More on that in a minute. We know why. And she explained that she wanted to be the perfect wife for him, whatever perfect meant for her and for him, whatever, great. More on them in a little bit. So the site is not just for men. We want to clear this up. We understand the site is called Ashley Madison, but it's not just for men. We want women on there too, because who are the men going to talk to? You know what I mean? So then we meet Stephanie. So she explains, she's really cool. She explains to us that monogamy, it's hard for her, to achieve. She struggled with monogamy. She says she would cheat on her partners. She would try not to cheat on her partners, but then she would just end up cheating on them anyways. She said, I'm a sexual person, and he would rather play fucking video games, and I'm over here being like, I'm horny. So he cheated. I think that's okay. I get it. And she says that my ex was in the military. So, I was fucking him for a while and then I cheated. So she thought, Ashley Madison, it's a really good idea for people like her who maybe want to be monogamous, but maybe want to also open things up a little bit. Not really, that's not really technically monogamy, but, you're opening it up. So whatever, go for it. So in 2012, we increased from 8.5 million users to 15 million users. So they're starting to dip their toes into other countries. We see India's there. There's another country we saw as well. I can't remember which one it was. I think, I can't remember the other countries, but India was one of them that definitely came up, and we're starting to dip our toes into that. So in 2015, 3 years later, we're jumping from 15 million users to 37 million users. Like, this shit's growing. And at this point, no security, no guarantee of anonymity, nothing. You're basically going into Ashley Madison with no condom on. That's basically what's happening here. No protection. Potentially going to get gonorrhea. That's basically what's going to happen here. So Noel would claim, the fuck? Yeah, I'm the CEO of a website where you can cheat on your wife and shit, but I'm not cheating. I'm monogamous. And he would actually bring his wife on to his interviews to basically sell that. I'm perfectly fine that my husband is a CEO for other people to cheat. But, if he cheated on me, that would be devastating, of course. And he would prep her interviews, to make sure that she's not going to say something that's going to fuck shit up, So turns out Joe, who we've been talking to throughout, and Stephanie, who we just met recently, are actually married to each other. So I'm going to assume here that Joe's, last relationship is the one where it didn't work out because she found out about, this situation. And he ended up meeting Stephanie and I guess, smash made in heaven. And then we also learn that Stephanie, that girl's a dominatrix. She's doing the damn thing. She says, I love having men under my control. And I said, you know what, girl, same. I do too. But I also like having a man have control over me as well. But, I like to have control too. It's fun. Anyway, we're back with fucking Sam. And he tells us, all this shit's happening with Ashley Madison. And then this amazing little movie came along called Frozen. Love, love Frozen. And if we remember back then of those times with Frozen, there were a lot of these reaction videos to the different songs in the movie. One obviously being Let It Go was the biggest one, but my favorite one was the military guys who were watching Let It Go and they were just like, yeah, these like big macho men. And like that was the time. It was a huge time of these reactions to this movie. So he's like, okay, so we did a video singing Love is an open door. Okay, so that's what he was saying, Love is an open door. And he did it with Nia. So yeah, so they were doing, Love is an open door. And they practice so much to perfect it. That shit I don't like. At least with the reactions, like I don't know if every reaction video is like this, but I like those ones that are a little authentic. You're having fun with it. The ones that are rehearsed to a fault, it's not authentic anymore. That's not fun. So this is what they did. And the video basically went viral, which I vaguely remember seeing this particular video. And for him, he's like, this gave me the validation that I wanted. And it was amazing for him. Y'all, this is the reason he was on Ashley Madison. This is what he was looking for. He was seeking the attention, the validation, and he wasn't getting that from Ashley Madison. And honestly, he probably wasn't getting that from her. Not really, not in the way he wanted anyways. So when this happened and this went viral, this is exactly what he wanted. This is what he needs, what he craves. So he had to do everything to make sure he kept that going. So we're going to get a lot about that. He says, I can start enjoying life again because life was so mundane and just boring and all of these responsibilities with my wife and my family. It's like you're enjoying life now. You didn't enjoy life when marrying your wife. You didn't enjoy life while having your children. Go fuck off. You know what I mean? He says, the infidelity desires, they faded. I didn't need that shit no more. And I deleted Ashley Madison. Now, do I believe he deleted Ashley Madison? Yeah, I do. But do I think the infidelity stopped? Well, more on that later. July 13th, 2015. It was a normal day for Mark. It's a normal day. Normal day, normal work. Doing the shit we always do. But he noticed he walked in, it's like silent. Nothing's happening. No phones are on, no computers are on, nothing's happening. So he went to go turn on his computer and a picture came up with music blaring. And he's like, what is this? And Mark goes to Noel and he's like, there's something wrong with the computer. Like there's music blaring and there's this picture about the what's the name of the team again? It's the tip of my tongue. I can't remember the name of the team, but with what is happening? Impact team. What's happening here? And Noel's like, we know, okay? We fucking know. Don't touch your fucking computer, okay? Don't touch it. We're under fucking attack. Imbecile. The fuck? Do you know the Impact fucking team? Because I don't. It's not a fucking screensaver. Don't touch it. So this is when he realized, oh shit, we got hacked. And we will expose everything, apparently, the impact team says, if you don't shut this down. You have 30 days to get it done. And that is the end of episode 1.